Hi, my name is Vicki Taylor. I'm coming today to show a new video, new teaching, and I'm going to share my slides. So let me get that set up. And I'm going to do a teaching today on kill your members on the earth. Kill, mortify. It's kind of funny because God says, you do not kill, steal, or nor destroy. And then he turns around and says, kill, mortify. And so I'm going to explain a little bit about what does this mean? How do we actually kill our members on the earth? What does that mean? So in Colossians 3:5, it says mortify, kill, slay, deprave of power, destroy the strength of. Therefore, your members which are upon the earth, mortify, kill your members which are upon the earth. And that's going to be important, the members that are upon the earth. You kill fornication, which means illicit sexual intercourse, adultery, fornication, homosexuality, lesbianism, intercourse with animals, etc. It comes from the word even pornography. Kill everything to do with pornography. It even says, I want you to kill, slay your members, your own members, not any other members of Christ, not your members of your family, not it says kill your members. And it says kill all uncleanness, iniquity, evil, lust, inordinate affection, which is affliction of the mind, your emotion, your depraved passions, your evil concupiscence, which is your evil desires, evil cravings, evil longings, and lust. It says kill your covetousness, all your greed, being fraudulent, extortion, which is idolatry, false gods, false makers in you. For all these things comes the wrath of God on the children of disobedience. But he's calling you children and he's asking you to be obedient to what he's asking you to do. And he says, I want you to kill your members that are upon the earth. And it says, in which we walked in all of these sometimes when we lived in them. When you lived according to our old first Adamic nature, because you're going to find out he is the man of the earth. The members that are of the first Adamic nature, it says kill them. It says your fight is not against flesh and blood. So what drives you to do these things? Who controls the first Adam? That's the question. Who controls our first Adam nature? Both soul, all of our feelings, our emotions, and flesh, our what we see, what we hear, what we speak. The old serpent is the answer. The old serpent, which is a spirit, he is being controlling us. And God says, I want you to mortify every one of your members that are on the earth. I want you to kill them. And so I'm going to read Romans 8:13 because it also talks about mortifying. For if you live after the flesh, or that's the flesh nature, the flesh Adam, you shall die. But if you through the spirit, and that's your answer, if you through the spirit do mortify, put to death, destroy, no longer in bondage to the deeds of the body, you shall live. So how would we possibly kill, mortify, our members that are on the earth? And that member is whatever is connected to the soulish realm. Everything that the soul and the flesh is getting us to do through the old serpent ruling, that he says, I want you to kill all of those members that are upon the earth. And again, I'm going to explain that by slide 3. You'll get more of a understanding of that. But Jesus said, and he became mankind just like us. And when he went down in that water, it was a picture of him dying to the old Adamic nature and coming up as the new resurrected man. But he said, I can do nothing but what my Father tells me to do. We can do nothing but what our Father tells us to do, or what the Lord tells us to do by the Spirit. So we don't even know that we may have false gods or false makers. So we wouldn't know how to kill them until God says, that is a maker. That you're allowing that to make you. So we must hear God. Now, I'm talking about the people who've had truth sown in them, and I'll talk about that more in a minute, has had truth sown, and that you have come alive to the fact that you're a spirit. As a spirit, now you must put off and mortify, kill everything that was attached to our first Adam nature. I'm going to read Matthew 5:11 to 5:12 because it says, "Blessed are you when men shall revile you." And that word men is not in there, it's italicized. So blessed are you when you shall be reviled and be persecuted and all manner of evil as spoken against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets. Prophets are called seers. So they persecuted the seers which were before you. So I'm going to remind you of Job's inward friends, which is listed in Job 19:19. Remember Job's inward friends? Those are the ones who really revile you. For what I mean by that is, when you become awakened to spirit, you hear God's spirit, but you also actually are hearing who it is that got you to be these, this driven to do what the old Adam does, which is it's as natural to go out and do evil and to cuss someone who cusses them. It's not natural. It's supernatural to bless those that curse you. It's supernatural to not render evil for evil. It takes God telling us, don't forget, you're a spirit. You're my child. You are my son. You are my daughter. And that's not how we act in this family. So inside of you, Job's inward friends were those who said, Job, the reason you're being persecuted is because you've done this. And his thoughts and all of the reasons was coming, or even can come through your natural friends, your natural family can say, this is why you're going through this, because you've done this and this. God would never persecute you, if you were good. But all of his inward friends, they all have a meaning, and their names have a meaning, and they were not telling truth. God said, every one of them were telling Job lies. Job was speaking the truth about God. And Job, remember what he said? He said, I know in my flesh I shall see God. He heard God. He said, I've heard of you by the hearing of the ear. And that's how he knew what to do and how he was a perfect and upright man on the earth. But then he said, I know in my flesh I will see God. And sure enough, he saw God. And then he said, now I hate myself. But he was able to just in hearing God, he was able to know that these voices that were telling him, remember, all of his friends were ruled by Satan, telling him all the reasons why bad things happening to him. And God was like, they are not telling truth like Job is. So the Bible tells us that you will be persecuted for righteousness' sake, and that Satan basically stands before God as the accuser of the brethren, and he accuses you before God day and night. So God's sitting there saying, you're my son, you're my daughter. You are a spirit as I am. I have birthed you into my family. You are accepted in the beloved. And then the accuser of the brethren tells you how bad you are, how wicked, how you always fail. There's nothing that you do right. Even if you're doing right, it's trying to convince you you're not doing right. All those thoughts, and blessed are you when you're hearing those. Blessed are you when you're being reviled by those thoughts and those spirits, because you're a seer then. You are actually perceiving thoughts and enemy in you that is telling you what you're doing wrong. And then God says, no, you kill all of those, anything and everything in you that all the fornication that they drove you to, all the uncleanness that they drove you to. You are a spirit and you can do this. This is not too hard for you, he said. I put a picture of the thorns up here because that's just a picture of in your mind. A lot of times most of the time, the battle is going to be within you, in your emotions, in your thoughts, in your feelings, to where you're like, who's going to deliver me from the body of this death? And God says, you can do this. I want you to cast down those thoughts and imaginations. I want you to have enough truth to where it swallows up the lies. I want you to know, that you can sing and make melody in your heart as opposed to being constantly tossed about with all those thoughts that they're bringing you. But he says you are blessed because you are seeing and hearing who the accuser of the brethren is, and you've been given authority over him. So when he says, arise, mortify, kill your members on the earth, in one place he says, even cut off your right hand if it offends you. For it's better for you to enter life without that one member. He's not meaning take a knife and literally cut your hand off, or cut your foot off, if you can't quit walking in the way of flesh. But what he's saying is just quit the actions. You are allowed, you have the authority and the ability, with God's help, with you hearing God and say, how do I do this? Give me wisdom. How do I quit having the desire, the evil cravings, the longings that my body is trying to get me to do? And he will tell you, do the opposite. Do the opposite. Deprave it of any of you. Have free will. You have choice to obey him or to let me lead you. And God will lead you to all truth. God will lead you to life and life more abundantly every day on the earth. God will lead you to joy that you've never experienced before. I'm talking a joy that only comes from the inward man, or from your inward man. So I'm going to go to the second slide. So mortify, kill. It is killing all the members within you that are of the first Adam, of the earth, soul and flesh. That's called the earth man, the soul and flesh. Colossians 3:8-11 says, but now I also want you to put off all of these. You put these off. You kill. You take off the old man. You put off anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth. You can do this. Just because it was driving you before, you do not have to continue to be led by it. If somebody comes by in a car and they've got road rage and they, flip you the bird, they call it. You don't have to do that back. He says, don't render evil for evil. You don't have to be angry just because they're angry. You don't have to, even in your family, someone's mad at you, you find out that, wait a minute, that's death. To be angry all the time, to be jealous all the time. And God said that's part of the first Adam, and I'm of the second man, the spiritually minded man. So I can choose to do the opposite. I can choose to not lie to one another, seeing that I put off the old man. The old man is simply our first man that is earthy, a soulish. The earth means that you're ruled by your emotions, you're ruled by your will, what you think is your will. The enemy is taking your will, twisting it, and doing his will with you. So you put off the old man with his deeds. It's as natural as our first Adam nature to do the things that mankind is doing, but it's unnatural for when we come to that place where we've had truth sown in our hearts and we've been birthed back into the remembrance and knowledge that we're a spirit, and to go, oh my goodness, why would I act like an animal when I'm not an animal? I am a child of the Most High God. I'm a child of the Spirit of God, and have put on the new man, the second man, which is spiritually minded. Even when it talks about heavenly minded in a minute, it's going to talk about have your mind open to the Spirit of God, as opposed to the mind led by the spirit of the old serpent, the voice that comes through the old serpent, which is a thought. It says, and have put on the new man, which is renewed in knowledge, the knowledge of God, after the image of him that created him, where there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is circumcision nor uncircumcision, barbarian, Scythians, bond nor free, but Christ is all and in all. So I put just a picture up here. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. That's one of the ways you must know truth. The truth is a person. Jesus is the spirit. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. You must know that voice. Jesus, the Holy Spirit, is the comforter, the spirit of truth. And if you know truth, you will be free. If you're not free, it's only because you don't have enough truth in that area. The enemy is still deceiving you with his lies. The truth will swallow up a lie. Every place he's got you in bondage, whether it be to anger, whether it be to filthy communication out of your mouth, he's getting you to say that because what you're doing to others literally comes back on you. He gets you to curse yourself by cursing somebody else, and he knows how it works. We don't know how it works, but he does. But it says, thanks be to God in Romans 6:17. Though you used to be slaves to sin, you wholeheartedly obeyed the form of teaching doctrine to which you were entrusted. So God started teaching after 2 days. It says in the word that he comes to us as the rain, as the early and latter rain to the earth. So after 2,000 years, God is teaching us. God is teaching us from the heavenly waters, his words that come down and says, don't you remember you're a spirit? You are not you've been sent there, but you are to put off that old Adam nature, and you're to be lights in the midst of the darkness. So there are only two, there's only two of you. And it says, there are only two of you, kill those on the earth. So I'm going to go to 1 Corinthians 15:42-49. So also, because we're talking about mortify, kill your members on the earth. But what does that really mean? So it says, so also is the resurrection of the dead. It's sown in corruption. So with our first, we were sown like a seed of the Father, was planted into the womb of your mother, and there was a seed sown. And when you came out, there was the corruptible first Adam. It was sown in corruption. But when a seed is sown into your heart, into your mind, which is the seed of truth, and you remember that, oh my gosh, that truth comes and I am being birthed back based on a seed, the seed of truth. I'm going to be raised in incorruption. You were sown in dishonor as the first Adam. You were raised in glory as the second man, the new man. It is, you were sown in weakness, but you are raised in power, the power of the new man, the power of the spirit. You were sown as a natural body. When you came, birthed as that baby through a natural body. But the second birth and the second resurrection is the spiritual body. You're raised as a spirit man. So you were the first Adam, the first man, soul and flesh. But then you also come as a second Adam, the spiritual man. And it says, 1 Corinthians 15:45. So there is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. And so it is written. And the number 45 is Adam in the Hebrew. Adam, 45. And so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam, who you find out in a minute, is the second one, was made a quickening or life-giving spirit. Howbeit, that was not first, which is spiritual, and neither were you spiritual when you first came as a natural man, but that which is natural. And afterwards, that which is spiritual. The first man is of the earth, earthy. There's your answer. The first man is of the earth, earthy. And he just told us that first man was made a living soul. The second man is the Lord from heaven. And the second Adam was made a life-giving spirit. And that's your walk. That's every man's walk on the face of the earth, is that we came here first as a flesh man, as a natural man, as a first Adam. And then with truth sown, we find out that, oh my goodness, I can be resurrected as a second man, a spirit man. And then as that spirit man, I'm going to see and hear by the spirit, and I can put off everything that's still and kill everything that was attached to that first Adam nature. So it says in 1 Corinthians 15:48, as is the earthy, such are those that are earthy, or you could even say soulish. As are those that are soulish. Everything is by your feelings, by your emotions, by your will. Everything is led, but the problem is your feelings, your emotion, your will even is ruled by everything you see, everything you hear. Someone talks bad about you, there goes your emotions. You hear a thought that your spouse is doing something bad, here comes jealousy, and you're ruled that way until you realize that, wait a minute, who am I hearing from? Is it bringing me life? Is it bringing me death? And then you've got to go to God and say, God, I've got something inside that is telling me lies, or I think there to be truth, and believing his lies, then you're damned to those feelings and those emotions. And so God is trying to get us to a place to where we are listening to the Spirit of God, and remembering that we are a spirit just like him, and that we're accepted in the beloved, that we are his children. Yes, he has us put off all the filthy communication, put off all of the lying, put off the anger and the wrath. Why? Because that's death. He wants us free. We are not going to go release somebody else as long as we're abiding in death. So it says, as is the earthy, such are those that are earthy. As is the heavenly, such are those that are heavenly. As we have borne the image of the earthy, the first Adam, the soulish man, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly, the same image. Beholding the Lord, we're changed into the same image, from glory to glory to glory, from one realm of growth to another realm to another realm. And it says, the question, who leads the second Adam? So the first Adam, our soulish man, our natural man, every man that ever was burnt into the earth, was led by Satan and is led by Satan. They don't know it. He's a spirit. They don't know that voice is constantly getting them to bite and be mean and be ugly. So who leads the second Adam? If Satan leads the first one, the second man, the spirit man, is led by God. The first Adam is not led. They're controlled by Satan. They think, I have free will. Do you? Is your free will to go out and cause yourself to be a drug addict? Is your free will causing you to look at pornography and you just can't seem to stop? Is your free will? I mean, we've been given free will, but we gave that will over to Satan until we awakened, come awake, come alive to the truth that we are actually spirits, and that we don't have to be subject to that spirit of death, Satan, that we can be led by God. And it's going to take being led by God to kill, mortify every one of our members that's been attached to the first Adam. So this last picture, if you are dead with him, if you are dead with Christ from the earth man, then you will be in the likeness of his resurrection to the heavenly man. Romans 6:5 and 6:6. And that 6:6 has to do a lot with Mr. 666. So spiritually dead, you in the flesh, you as a flesh man, you were born into this earth spiritually dead. But you get buried with Jesus. But remember, you have to be sown, a seed sown. And with that seed being sown of the truth, you end up getting buried. If you be dead with him, then you'll be in the likeness of the resurrection. So then, united with him in his death, you're raised to new life. And that's what it's called. You must be born again. The way that happens is we come and accept him as our Passover lamb. We actually come to that place to where we're joined back to the Lord as one spirit. And then he's sowing truth into us. And then we come to a new life, a new birth. And in that, he's going, okay, everything of your Adam nature must be put to death, the first Adam, so that you can live only according to your second nature, which is spirit led by God, as opposed to a soul flesh ruled, controlled by Satan. So that is the end of this presentation. I'll be doing more teachings on this as we go. God just laid it on my heart that you must know, I must know, we must know that it is possible to be free, a free men walking lights, so that as we get free, we can help set captives free. The way we get free is the way we're going to help teach them. And then they also hear God and start getting free also. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.